Good morning and welcome to the Trader Planet Pre-Market Open Trade Review. Today is Wednesday, June 2nd. We're so glad you could join us today. This is Darla Tuttle, your host for today's session with Greg Firman, a market analyst for TraderPlanet.com. Today's webcast takes place at a specific date and time, and therefore any opinions given by our presenter may change without notice at any time. Please be aware that trading involves substantial risk of loss and therefore may not be suitable for all investors, and past performance is not indicative of future results. This live webcast is being recorded and will be posted on Trader Planet, so you will be able to review the material at a later time. You will also find other previously recorded webinars among our other free educational resources within our site at www.TraderPlanet.com. As one of our more revered Forex educators, Greg Firman is a professional trader and commodity trade advisor that has worked in the stock, futures, commodity, and currency markets for the last 10 years. Greg is Series 3 commodity futures licensed and registered with the NFA and has clients that include individual traders and fund managers from around the world. We're delighted to have him here with us today. Let's give a warm welcome to Greg Firman.
Thank you very much for that warm welcome, Darla. And again, welcome everybody, and thank you for attending this morning. Now, this morning what we're going to be doing is looking at some pre-market trades, again in the Forex market using, for today again, the Vantage Point software. Now, a number of things we're going to be looking at today are going to be the US dollar index, crude oil, equities. So when we're looking at foreign exchange, we're not looking strictly at the currencies by themselves because they're not a lone driving factor. This is what everybody, I would like to explain to everybody that this is how it works. Right now, the equities are a driving factor in foreign exchange. So if you're not looking at equities and if you're not looking at the price of some of the commodities, then you're only looking at partially of what's happening with a number of these currencies. So let's have a look right now at the market as it stands, where things are at right now. Now, again, we're looking at a live shot of, this is of course a demo platform for trading CFDs, which is the S&P 500, crude oil, gold, a number of different other indices. So what we're looking at right now, we can see in the market, we've got some of the recommended trades, by the way, for today are Great Britain, US, crude oil, some of the ETF markets, but we won't go into ETFs today. That's not really relevant to this presentation. But let's go back and have a quick look at the May 12th live pre-market webinar, where we actually entered these trades during that webinar. Now, point of interest is, for training purposes, these trades are still open, and this actually mirrors my own live account. Now, Great Britain, Swiss franc, you remember we were looking at trading that pair. We've got 454 pips booked on that now. This is a 0.2 trade, so $20,000 lot, $2 a tick. We have another Great Britain Swiss franc trade open here. It's a $50,000 trade, $5 a tick. We've got $1,875 in profit. Now, we also had a buy position in the US Canadian pair. Back then, we can see the dates here are listed when this was entered, 5/12, 5/12, 5/12. Now, again, with the US Canadian pair, we have 314 pips booked for a $1,500 profit. Now, we're also trading crude oil. Now, the crude oil was one of the recommended trades from last week. We have 294 ticks booked on that one for $1,461. Now, looking over here, usually when I go into the live webinars, I have pending orders, and I like to get into a trade today. So the trade you can see that I've entered this morning, just actually a matter of 3 minutes before the webinar for training purposes, is the Great Britain US. Now, we can also see that as the recommended trade today, I suggested we were going to get back to the 145.60, 145.20, somewhere in that area, and we're just not able to get that pullback. And I'm going to explain that, why we're not able to get that in a moment here. But for live trading purposes, the 146 area is fine for me for this morning, but you can see that I've dropped my lot size to, again, to a lower volume at 30,000, where I would normally do, you can see here that we have $48,000 in equity in this particular demo account. So instead of doing my normal 50K trade, I've cut that in half to a 30 because I anticipate that this still may move back to that 145.20 area, and if it does, I'll top up and add another position there. Now, the good thing with this platform is there is no first in and first out rule. I can enter as many positions I want, whether it be short, long, it doesn't matter. And that's the beauty of trading outside of the U.S., because we avoid some of these frankly ridiculous NFA rules where they're suggesting, a position has to be entered and it has to be exited in a certain order. That particular rule never really made much sense to me, because I've never in my life traded that way. So if I'm long on Great Britain US at 146.18, which I currently am, and then I want to enter into another position at 145.50, and then it goes up to 145.90, I want to be able to exit that second position first. I'm not interested in exiting the first one in that particular order. But again, for trading purposes here, this is a live trade we've entered into today with the Great Britain US. Now let's go in and have a look at the Great Britain US using the Vantage Point software. Now I will touch base on the British pound Swiss franc also, because that's going to be relevant. Now here's what I see in the British pound US dollar using the Vantage Point software, why I'm getting into this trade, and I'm not too worried, particularly right now at the 146 area. I have the predicted true strength indicator from Vantage Point. This indicator has a dual purpose. Number one, it shows me the strength of the current direction of the likely direction of the market move. It also, the other side of that coin is that it's telling me when something is overbought and when it's oversold. That's of critical importance to me, because if something is heavily overbought and heavily oversold, based on this software, then I can almost guarantee you up to about 80 or 90% that it is going to reverse its course. Now that's what's happening here. If we look at past cases where this has happened, where the predicted true strength indicator is crossed, we go back to 3/9/2010. We can see here it crossed to the upside. It went up. It came back down. It struggled around this overbought level at the negative, or oversold level at the negative 20. It crossed right here again. If we go up and look at the Vantage Point software, it then went up from the 146 level all the way up into the 154 level actually. So that was a real good move. Now to the flip side of that, we can see it's hit the overbought level right here. If we go up to look at the Vantage Point software, the triple EMA crossover made its move to the downside almost at the exact same time. So the leading indicator was the predicted true strength indicator. Now again, I can only get this indicator from Vantage Point. I can't get it from a broker. I can't get it from another software program. So again, with my presentations, this is why I focus on using the Vantage Point software, because this is a patented indicator of theirs. So again, with this crossover on this predicted true strength indicator, when this is crossed to the downside, we can see that the Great Britain US fell from the 154 level all the way down to 142. That is a huge move in a matter of less than a month. We're looking at 1,200 pips. That's a very big move. Now, looking at this, taking that same perspective, we've crossed to the upside. So even though I'm counter trend going up against this predicted true strength indicator is very seldomly wrong.